Hi, I'm Megan Leggett with Sincere Shipping. Today we're going to talk about bills of lading. The bill of lading is probably the most important document in shipping basically anything because it is essentially a contract that states where the goods came from, where they're going, how they're getting there, and what they are. It really is central to everything and everyone uses it. They use it on the American side, the shipping line uses it, customs uses it, and they use it at destinations. Really very important. There are essentially two bills of lading. It's a little bit more intricate than that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. We'll start with the two main types, the draft and the original. First, we'll look at the draft. Once the shipping company sends the shipping instructions to the shipping line, detailing what's in the container and everything, the shipping line will issue a draft bill of lading. The draft bill of lading will always say draft on it. You can see draft up here. And anytime you get a bill of lading, no matter what line has issued it, it's going to say draft somewhere on it. A lot of times it appears as a watermark across the copy. So, on the draft bill of lading, the most important pieces of information are the consignee, that is, who's picking up the cargo overseas, and the contents of the container. Consignee appears here. This is also the consignee. This is consignee information, and this is the cargo description. Make sure that you pay close attention to each, if you're shipping cars, each VIN number. No matter what you're shipping, telephone number for the consignee, address for the consignee, names, because if the consignee goes to pick up the cargo and their name isn't spelled correctly on the bill of lading, depending on the circumstances, that can create a delay, and delays get expensive. We'll cover storage charges and such in a different post later on. So it's very important that the draft is correct. Now, a reputable shipping company will probably send you the draft so that you can review it. They'll review it, but it's always a great idea if you can have a lot of people review it. The more people that review it, the less chance there is for error. So I highly recommend, if they don't send you a draft, ask for one. Review it and let them know if there are any changes. Generally, if you make changes to the draft within a week of sailing, there are no charges. If for some reason the container gets closer to arrival, or if it has already arrived, then you could be looking at $100 or even $300 or $400 in charges for change of manifest fees. That's what it's called, the change of manifest. Manifest correction. There's a few different terms for it. So make sure your draft is right, just as you would make sure anything is right. Proof your work. Then the next piece is the original bill of lading. And this is where it's a little more intricate. The original bill of lading can be produced in several forms. It just depends on country and personal preference, a lot of different things. Basically, you have two options. You have a telex release, three options: telex release, Seaway bill, and OBL. We'll start with a Seaway bill, because I have it in front of me. This is a Seaway bill. It looks very much like the draft, but it's not, because it doesn't say draft, first of all, and it says Seaway. It's a bit different. This is going to have the same information on it, only it is an actual cargo release. You can take this and pick up the container. Take it to the office overseas and show this to them, and you can pick it up. They'll give it to you if you match the description on the consignee. Even though you've proofed the draft copy, I strongly recommend, again, once you receive this, proofing it as well. The shipping company will have already proofed it, but be prudent, do your due diligence, and proof it again. If you find a mistake on this that should have been corrected or did appear as correct on the draft, the shipping line will take care of that at no charge. If you find a mistake on this that wasn't caught on the draft, but that was there, you're going to be responsible for any changes. So it's very important to make sure that the proof copy is correct. So that's a Seaway bill. It's pretty much like a draft, only it's a more legitimate copy. The next thing is what's called a telex release. A telex release is an electronic confirmation. It's going to look nothing like this. It is essentially just a document that says we authorize this container to be released at destination. It's an email. It's really nothing. And with the telex release, it's actually important to keep in mind that the consignee can pick up the cargo without presenting any paperwork. So if you're in a situation where you are awaiting payment and you've not received that payment yet, it is very important to tell the shipping line not to release the container, because with a Seaway or with an OBL, if the consignee goes to the shipping line and doesn't have it, then they're not going to release the container. With a telex release, they'll release the container, even if your customer hasn't paid you. As long as the shipping line has been paid, it'll be released. So it's really important, if you're going to use a telex release, be mindful of the fact that anyone can pick up the cargo at any time as long as it's been paid. Telex releases are very convenient. I prefer them. But rest assured that if I have not been paid for the cargo, I contact the line and I tell them, thank you for processing this release, but do not release it to anyone. Hold it until I say, go. Okay, go. The third type of release is what's called an OBL, and I don't actually have any OBLs to show you right now because as soon as I get them, I forward them on. That is an actual copy it's mailed to you from the shipping line. Again, it basically looks like this, only they send you 3 copies, and they're little packets about that thick each. It's on usually light blue paper, thick paper. It looks good. It's like a certified document, basically. It's colorful. You can't forge one, basically, and I think that's the goal. But with the OBLs, you actually have to take it and mail it to your consignee, as opposed to a Seaway where you can email it or fax it, and then also with the telex where you just email it or fax it. The OBLs actually have to be mailed, and this is one of the main disadvantages to OBLs. You have to mail them. That's expensive. If you've got to mail something from, Savannah or New York or LA to the Middle East or to Europe, this is not a $20 shipment. This is $100 potentially you're spending on trying to get the paperwork there. You've also got to be concerned about, could it get lost in transit? This is a big deal. If it gets lost in transit, that means your consignee can't pick up the container. And usually in order for the shipping line to issue a telex release, they have to have control of the originals. That means you've got to go back to the line and be like, hey, FedEx lost my originals. What are we going to do? And it's a bit bureaucracy. They're going to take a week for them to figure that one out. The other thing is, if there's any delays, maybe there's an earthquake or a hurricane, it's happened before, that creates delays in the logistics system, and hence a delay in getting your paperwork from origin to destination. It's going to cause another delay, and your container, while it's stuck at the port, after a certain amount of days is going to start collecting storage charges. And like I said, I think I'm going to cover that tomorrow because it's coming up a lot today. But this is why I don't recommend bills of lading. The prime benefit, though, to bills of lading is that it's ultra secure. You start with the physical copy in your hand. You mail that physical copy to your consignee, and unless he has it, the original on the shipping line's actual paper, then he can't pick up the cargo. You can print this out and make 10 copies and give them to whoever you want. It's just not as secure. So that pretty much covers bills of lading from the beginning with the draft to the end with the release of the cargo overseas. If you have any other questions about bills of lading, you can definitely email me or leave me a message or a private message. It's totally up to you, but I can definitely help you. Any of my staff can help you. Bills of lading are pretty simple for the most part. When you get into split bills of lading and stuff like that, then it does become a bit more complicated. But I'm not going to cover that too much right now, except just to say this is for one consignee. If you need to give it to 4 different consignees, you have to do 4 different bills of lading. That is definitely a topic for another vlog. So we'll leave it at that. But if you have any questions about these 2 basic bills of lading, or if you want to talk about split bills of lading, any of us at my office are more than happy to help. Just let us know. Send us your questions and your comments. Thanks.